Hey guys, it's Leia speaking. And okay, I am recording this video on the 15th of December. I know that you know what the title is and what this video is about. Do not make fun of me. December has beat me up so damn bad. But through it all, I have been reading, and I want to tell people about the books that I've read at the end of the month. And I cannot do that until I tell you guys about the books that I plan to read at the start. So yes, I know that it is literally midway through the month and I am uploading a TBR. Actually, it's going to be more than midway through the month by the time that I'm uploading this. But listen, a lot of stuff got in my way that prevented me from recording this and uploading this. Okay, my brother had a baby. I had to take care of his other kid. My job really tried to play with me. My friends were being, December has really just like taken me down. Okay, but I've been reading through it all, so I just gotta catch all up. So just role play with me. Pretend it's December 1st. Not even. Pretend it's November 30th and you're watching this. Okay, go back to whatever you were doing at that time of the year, that time of the month. Okay, we were all recovering from Thanksgiving or like whatever. I don't know, just play along, okay? As many of you might have known, I'm coming off of the worst reading slump of my life. I wanted to start off small with my first TBR after the slump. So I only have 8 books, and 2 of them are low-key like fake. Not fake, but one of them is a graphic novel, and the other is a very, very small book. So let's start with the super small book, and as usual, there's backstory. So in my last video, I talked about how I got the wrong book from Barnes & Noble, and I wanted this book about motherhood and finding yourself outside of being a mom. So I went back to the Barnes & Noble, and they didn't have it. I was sick because I knew that I should have gotten it when I saw it, but I didn't, and now I lost it. But I did find another book that was intriguing to me. This one is also about motherhood, funnily enough. I don't even know how I always find books that have similar topics, but I guess I'm just drawn to certain kinds of story plots or whatever. So the plot of this book is Love is the story of a single mother and her son who have just moved to a remote small town in the north of Norway. The mother, caught up in her own concerns, has forgotten that it's the day before her son's 9th birthday. Oh my god. Wrapped up in her own dream world, she's so me. She ventures to the local library, leaving him to wander the town, selling lottery tickets and visiting the homes of strangers. Jesus Christ. Sparse, glinting prose narrates the events of a single night, alternating seamlessly between the characters' experiences. Their most intimate thoughts snake around each other as if pursuing an elusive warmth and affection. As suspense builds, mother and son wander ever closer to tragedy, oh no, in this icy nocturne of a novel. So I like that plot. It sounds really good. Because the one thing I love more than a mother is a fail mother, okay? I think those are always very intriguing characters. So let's see what happens. Hopefully the tragedy isn't too tragic because I don't want to make myself sad. Like, it is the Christmas season. I do kind of want to be cozy. It's funny because this book is also by another Norwegian author. I didn't even say the title. This book is called Love and it's by Han Orstavik. Okay, that's how I'm saying it. That's my American interpretation. But yeah, I do love that I got another book about being a mom, and I also got another book by a Norwegian author. I'm very funny. So the next book is A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. I really associate winter and Christmas time really heavily with fantasy books, and I'm just in the mood for a really good fantasy read with dragons and other mythical creatures, and I really like the cover for this book. It's so pretty. Look at the dragon. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him, dumb fuck. Oh my god. Okay. So the synopsis for this one is: all the world, from Skirland to the farthest reaches of Auriga, know Isabella, Lady Trent, to be the world's preeminent dragon naturalist. She is the remarkable woman who brought the study of dragons out of the misty shadows of myth and misunderstanding into the clear light of modern science. There were so many M's in that sentence. But before she became the illustrious figure we know today, there was a bookish young woman whose passion for learning, natural history, and yes, dragons, defied the stifling conventions of her day. Here at last, in her own words, is the true story of a pioneering spirit who risked her reputation, her prospects, and her fragile flesh and bone to satisfy her scientific curiosity, of how she sought true love and happiness despite her lamentable eccentricities, and of her thrilling expedition to the perilous mountains of Vistria Pastrana, where she made the first of many historic discoveries that would change the world forever. So this just sounds cool. It sounds fun. You know, I haven't read a dragon book in a while. And yeah, I just love fantasy and I like being in that world. Okay, so following on the fantasy theme, the next book is Piranesi. And when I tell you the hell I had to go through to get this book, I was third on the waiting list at the library to check this out. But whoever has this book now is reading the fuck out of that book, because I've been on the waiting list for like 2 months. And I emailed the library for an update and they just ignored me. So I just took the L and bought the book, okay? I try to go to the library when I can, but I really want to read this book. This is a book that I've been meaning to read for a while because it got recommended to me on TikTok one day. I know, don't judge me, just let it happen, okay? But this book, and mainly the cover, have been like permanent fixtures in my brain for the longest time. And I'm not gonna lie, wanting to read this book in particular is why I really wanted to break my reading slump. So the synopsis is: Piranesi's house is no ordinary building. Its rooms are infinite, its corridors endless, its walls are lined with thousands upon thousands of statues, each one different from all the others. Within the labyrinth of halls, an ocean is imprisoned. Waves thunder up staircases. Rooms are flooded in an instant. But Piranesi is not afraid. He understands the tides as he understands the pattern of the labyrinth itself. He lives to explore the house. T. There is one other person in the house, a man called the Other, who visits Piranesi twice a week and asks for help with research into a great and secret knowledge. But as Piranesi explores, evidence emerges of another person, oh my god, and a terrible truth begins to unravel, revealing a world beyond the one Piranesi has always owned. See, doesn't that just sound so fucking good? Like that I love that. It also kind of gives me, not necessarily, but it kind of gives me like dark academia vibes, and I also associate that with like winter, more so fall, but like winter as well. And I really want to read this book, and I've wanted to read this book for a while, and now I'm finally in the reading mood again after years. So I'm ready to read that book. The next book on my TBR is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Okay, so I don't know why, but I keep seeing people talk about this book now. Like, I have Roku TV, whatever, and when I like turned it on the home screen, I saw an advertisement for this book. I was like, why am I getting advertised this book on my fucking television? And I know that it's been out for a while. I remember when I was in high school, I saw the book all the time as well, but I've since like graduated college, so I'm like, why do I care about this book? Like, actually, I'm gonna look it up. Oh, now I see. People are talking about this book because a new installation in the series released this year. Okay, so I guess... Okay, it's also a dystopian series. Guys, are we gonna do the thing where, like, when Hunger Games first came out, everyone started making dystopian novels, and now that we're in a bit of a Panem renaissance, you can say, now all the other dystopian series are gonna, like, spin the block now? Is that what we're doing? Whatever. I'm easily influenced because now I want to read the book. It never interests me. I always did like the cover whenever I saw it, and now I'm seeing it everywhere again, so might as well read it. So let's see what it's about. Darrow is a red, a member of the lowest caste in the color-coded society of the future. Guys, are we really gonna do this again? Like his fellow reds, he works all day believing that he and his people are making the surface of Mars livable for future generations. Yet he toils willingly, trusting that his blood and sweat will one day result in a better world for his children. But Darrow and his kind have been betrayed. Soon he discovers that humanity reached the surface generations ago. Whoa. Vast cities and lush wilds spread across the planet. Darrow and reds like him are nothing more than slaves to a decadent ruling class. Inspired by a longing for justice and driven by the memory of lost love, Darrow sacrifices everything to infiltrate the legendary institute, a proving ground for the dominant gold caste, where the next generation of humanity's overlords struggle for power. He will be forced to compete for his life in the very future of civilization against the best and most brutal of society's ruling class. There, he will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if it means he has to become one of them to do so. Okay, so I don't know when this book was released. Let me see, because it could have been released before the Hunger Games, so I don't necessarily want to say that yet. But okay, it came out in 2014. I was like 12 when the Hunger Games came out, so it had to have come out in like 2011. Okay, the movie came out in 2012, so I can already say, yeah, okay. Okay, I don't want to call it a Hunger Games ripoff or whatever, but it is one of the Hunger Games sons, we'll say. That makes me a little bit less excited to read it, but I have already purchased the book. See, this is what happens when you're so easily influenced. I'm still gonna read it because I do like the dystopian genre in general, but I find that a lot of the times it is harder for people to be as good as The Hunger Games. I also think I have a lot of nostalgia tied up to that series, so I'm always going to be very biased when I'm like comparing it to other series, but I'm gonna give this one a shot. The cover's really pretty. The next book on my TBR is Bunny by Mona Awad. Okay, so I'm including this book as kind of a troll because I know that there are a lot of like mixed reviews for this book. It has like 3.5 stars on Goodreads and 2.8 stars on Barnes & Well, at the time that I'm recording this, we can't necessarily trust Goodreads reviews, right? But whatever. So I'm ready to read a bad book. Listen, sometimes with the reading, you have to take the good with the bad, all right? And I'm ready. Wouldn't it be so funny if I read this book and it's so bad it sent me back into a reading slump? Well, let's cross our fingers that doesn't happen. So what's the synopsis for this book? Hold on. I genuinely don't know what the book's about. I purely put it on my TBR because so many people didn't like it. I was like, let's see what all the fuss is about. Samantha Heather Mackey, that's a name, couldn't be more of an outsider in her small, highly selective MFA program at New England's Warren University. She's so me. A scholarship student who prefers the company of her dark imagination to that of most people, she is utterly repelled by the rest of her fiction writing cohort, a clique of unbearably twee rich girls who call each other Bunny and seem to move and speak as one. But everything changes when Samantha receives an invitation to the Bunny's fabled smut salon, and finds herself inexplicably drawn to their front door, ditching her only friend Ava in the process. Come on, don't do that. As Samantha plunges deeper and deeper into the Bunny's sinister yet saccharine world, beginning to take part in the ritualistic off-campus workshop, in quotes, where they conjure their monstrous creations, the edges of reality begin to blur. Soon her friendships with Ava and the Bunnies will be brought into deadly collision. See, that sounds interesting, so now I'm trying to figure out, like, okay. The rating on Barnes & Noble has been bumped up to 3.8, so I don't know, maybe people are realizing that this, like, book is actually good. But when I first saw it, it was 2.5. And I know a bunch of people whose opinions I usually agree with. They don't like this book. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, with a plot that sounds that interesting, how bad is the book? How bad does this author have to fumble that a lot of people don't like it? So I don't know. Who knows? It kind of sounds like Mean Girls meets Dark Academia, which honestly, I don't hate the premise of that. Like, that sounds cool, but it could be obnoxious maybe. Who knows? I like the plot. It sounds cool. Hopefully the book isn't that bad. Or if it's going to be bad, hopefully it's so bad it's funny, because that's always a good time as well. Alright, so next on my TBR, so I wanted at least one actual Christmas type books to read this season. So this is probably I think this is actually the only Christmas book. It's called A Court of Sugar and Spice by Rebecca F. Kenny, and it's a Nutcracker retelling. Okay, so first things first, no more courts, okay? Pick a new word, okay? Try a field, try a pitch, just enough with the courts, please. So I haven't heard much about this book. I found it literally by just like looking up Christmas books on Amazon. And when I haven't heard much about a book, I'll look it up on Twitter or on like social media to see what the streets are saying, right? So I looked up the title of this book on Twitter, and tell me why the first thing I see is the author promoting it by posting smut on Maine. Oh my god. Look at this content warning. Nudity. And I know sometimes people like troll and it's not actually like a explicit photo, right? But no, I unblurred it. It's porn. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know that that's what we were doing. And it's just something about the author having the gall to post porn on Maine that really made me want to read the book more. Like, fuck it. If that's what we're doing, if we're leaning into it, then sure. I don't usually read books with smut because something about reading porn has always been like a disconnect for me. But I'm expanding my horizons, I guess. I don't know. So the synopsis for this one is: with their inheritance restricted until their marriage, sisters Clara and Louisa, both in their 20s, must live with their godfather Drosselmeyer. One night, an accident brings to life one of the strange wooden dolls in Drosselmeyer's mansion. The Nutcracker doll is a cursed fae prince. Enough with the fae. Enough with the courts and the fae. Guys, there are so many other mythical creatures that we can fuck. Okay? Like, we can do something else. But whatever. The Nutcracker doll is a cursed Fae prince, and he pleads for the sisters' help. During the ensuing journey into the Fae realm, Clara encounters the handsome Sugarplum Fairy, and he promises her the chance to enact all the forbidden fantasies she has dreamed of. Oh lord. Meanwhile, Louisa and the Nutcracker prince battle and bicker over everything. Enemies to lovers? What? Despite the growing attraction between them. Yup, enemies to lovers. And to make matters worse, the entire Seelie kingdom is under threat of conquest by the Rat King, ruler of the Dread Court. Okay. I have like Fae PTSD. Like, I'm so tired of like all the same things, but it'll probably be funny at least. And it'll put me in the Christmas spirit, That's what we're going to call it, right? The next book I have is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and this book has been on my TBR for so long. It's another one that's almost entirely vibes based. Books about books I always associate as being really super cozy, and it has midnight in the title, so I just kind of visualize cozying up and reading it in like a library at night by the fireplace. You probably shouldn't have a fireplace in a library though, but you know what I mean. This book just gives me major cozy vibes, and it's the perfect time to read it for me. And the summary for this one is: somewhere out beyond the edge of the universe, there is a library that contains an infinite number of books, each one the story of another reality. One tells the story of your life as it is, along with another book for the other life you could have lived if you made a different choice at any point in your life. While we all wonder how often our lives might have been, what if you had the chance to go to the library and see for yourself? Would any of these other lives truly be better? In Midnight Library, Matt Haig's enchanting blockbuster novel, Nora Seed finds herself faced with this decision. Faced with the possibility of changing her life for a new one, following a different career, undoing old breakups, realizing her dreams, and becoming a glaciologist, she must search within herself as she travels through the Midnight Library to decide what is truly fulfilling in life and what makes it worth living in the first place. That sounds so cute. That sounds cute. A little adventure type beat, So I'm excited to read that one. And the last book on my December TBR is a graphic novel. This was the other fake book I was talking about. This is another like broadening my horizons type pick. I'm trying to read more graphic novels and comics and manga. This one is called Deadly Class, and apparently it was adapted into a TV show that got canceled in 2019. That's tough. But the series itself kept going, and it had 12 volumes, and the last one was released on November 22nd of last year. And it's so poetic that the last volume was released at the end of Scorpio season. A graphic novel series called Deadly Class finished at the end of Scorpio season, the last day too. That's crazy. That's actually so funny. So I actually found this one at a bookstore near my friend's house, and I got it because the cover had like skeletons on it, and that looked really cool and edgy, and there was like this badass girl with tattoos, so I was like, yeah, I kind of have to get it. So the back says, it's 1987, and homeless teenager Marcus Lopez has no reason to keep living until one fateful evening when he is approached by a mysterious girl who invites him to join King's Dominion Atelier of the Deadly Arts, a brutal, clandestine high school where the world's top crime families send the next generation of assassins to be trained. Okay? Murder is an art, killing is a craft, and the dagger in your back is no metaphor. So that sounds cool. That sounds fun. They said the dagger in your back is no metaphor. Okay, heard you. I feel like you're lying to me, but okay. I don't know. And the cover looks like I should probably enjoy it. I feel like this will be a good read in the middle of the month to break up the longer books, So that's my December TBR. Tell me what you're planning on reading this month. Tell me, no, okay, let's be real. Snap back to reality, okay? Tell me what you've already read, and if you have any more books you plan to read in particular this month. So let me know in the comments below and give this video a like before you go. Thank you.